Hello fam, let's dive into this video.
After listening to this story, you will never go to a salon without your comb and personal items. Have you ever wondered what the hairs that are left in a stylist comb after braiding your hair are used for? Think about it. Adana's Beauty Heaven, as it was called, stood tall among other salons. It was not just a place where hairs were constantly beautified. It was a go-to place for anyone who wanted to stand out. The smell of freshly oiled hair and fragrant shampoos drew customers from far and wide. Adana, the owner, was the reason why her salon was so popular. She was not just skilled, but also enchanting. With her smooth voice, graceful movement, and confident smile, she could charm even the most skeptical clients. Her hands moved fast, transforming even the dirtiest hair into beautiful braids, sleek weaves, and bold natural twists. It didn't take long for her name to spread all over the city. If you want perfection, go to Adana, people would say. Women traveled from villages and cities, sometimes waiting long hours just to sit on her chair. Even the local celebrities, radio hosts, business women, and actresses counted on her to keep them looking flawless. But Adana had a secret, one that no one suspected. Hidden among her tools was an unusual comb. It was sleek and black with sharp teeth. To most of her customers, it looked like just any other styling tool. But to Adana, it was the key to her success. She called it her special comb and always insisted on using it on her clients. "Trust me," she would say to her customers with a reassuring smile, "this comb is unlike any other. It works wonders." And the fact that she always sterilized the comb before using it on any customer made them feel even more comfortable. Her clients rarely questioned her. After all, Adana's results spoke for themselves. But as she walked the combs through their hairs, she remained focused, carefully collecting their hairs into the combs. To her clients, she was taking her time to braid the hair. But to Adana, she was fulfilling a more sinister purpose. No one knew what happened to the hairs left behind on the comb. No one suspected that Adana's fame and fortune were tied to something far darker than hairstyling. And for now, her secret was safe. Adana's salon was always bustling with life during the day, but her true work began at night. While her customers gushed about how light and smooth their hair felt after her touch, Adana was quietly collecting more than compliments. As she braided and styled her clients' hair, she used her special comb to gently scrape their scalp. Most thought it was just part of the process of combing and detangling. But Adana wasn't just combing, she was harvesting. As she scraped their hair, tiny flakes from their scalps and hair strands clung to the comb. After each session, she would carefully pluck the remnants off and discreetly wrap them in a small piece of transparent nylon, ensuring no one ever saw what she was doing. Her clients, who were oblivious to her evil plans, left the salon smiling, praising her talent. But once the last customer was gone and the salon grew quiet, Adana would gather her stash of nylon, her face brimming with smile of fulfillment. After a long busy day at work, instead of taking a rest to prepare for the next day ahead, she would embark on a mysterious journey, one that fuels the source of her income. At night, she would transform into someone entirely different. She would dress in a black cloak that concealed her identity and walk through the quiet street, heading towards a forbidden forest just outside the city. The forest was known for its chilling silence and unsettling airs. Locals whispered about strange lights and unexplained sound, and no one dared to venture there after sunset. However, Adana was fearless. She navigated the forest with ease, weaving through the dense trees until she reached a small cleared path. At the center stood an altar made of withered stone, surrounded by withered plants. The air here was heavy, the kind of stillness that will make your skin crawl. She emptied her nylon bag filled with hairs on the altar and then sprinkled a strange oil on the hairs and lit it with a match. Moments later, a shadowy figure appeared from the darkness. "What do you seek this time?" it asked. Adana's voice didn't waver. "Wealth," she simply said, fixing her bold eyes on the figure. The spirit extended a clawed hand, and in an instant, a heavy pouch of coins appeared. She toasted the pouch filled with coins to Adana, and she nodded her thanks. But just as she was about to leave, the spirit voice stopped her. "Beware," it warned. "Greed has its price." But Adana didn't care. She was already thinking of the next step in her plan. Not all the hairs she collected went to the spirit. Some she kept for other purposes. In her small secret room at home, she crafted crude voodoo dolls. Each doll was stuffed with hairs from a particular client, and she used them to control or punish those who annoyed her. If a client complained too much or skipped an appointment, Adana made sure they paid. The next morning, they might wake up with a splitting headache, an unexplained injury, or a stroke. She also sold some of the hairs to her dark practitioners who used them in their own rituals. These sales brought her even more money, though she never knew what the hairs were used for. But her most sinister act was creating cursed talismans. She would use strands of hairs from her clients to design a small tiny object like beads, bracelets, or charms, and secretly slip them into her clients' bags. These talismans didn't just bring bad luck, they drained the client's youth and vitality. It was why, despite her advancing years, she remained radiant and full of energy. As the night turned into weeks and the weeks into months, Adana's wealth grew. Her salon flourished and her beauty became the envy of the city. In no time, her newfound success became the talk of the town. It began with whispers in the city. "Have you heard? Adana just bought the latest luxury car." Soon after, people noticed her driving around in a black SUV, the kind only the wealthiest men and women in the city could afford. But this was just the beginning. Within months, she had built a mansion outside the city. It was a sight to behold: massive gates, marbled floor, and crystal chandeliers that sparkled like stars. Her home became the talk of the town, a symbol of success everyone envied. Her salon too saw an unprecedented rise in popularity. What was once a small bustling business now became the most sought-after salon in the entire city. The praise poured in endlessly. "Adana is a genius," one client said. "No one else can make my hair look this good." Others marveled at her humility, despite her sudden wealth. To many, she was a role model, an example of what hard work could achieve. Despite the praises Adana received, some group of people refused to be blinded by her sudden wealth. Even though her salon was doing well, it wasn't just lucrative enough to bring the kind of money Adana was now swimming in. How could she become so rich so quickly? Some questioned. Others noted her strange behavior, how she never allowed anyone touch her comb, or how she seemed overly protected of the hairs left behind. Adana, however, had an answer for everything. When asked about her wealth, she would laugh lightly and say, "Hard work and blessings, my dear." Her charm was disarming, and her generosity made it too hard to doubt her. She donated to orphanages, paid school fees for the needy, and gifted her loyal clients expensive hampers during festive seasons. Her generosity silenced most critics. Why would someone so kind and giving have anything to hide? They reasoned. And so, Adana continued to rise, her secrets buried beneath layers of charms and luxuries. But how long could she keep the truth hidden? As she continued with her evil practices, the effect started taking a toll on her customers. At first, it was subtle. A few clients mentioned feeling unusually tired after their appointment. "Maybe it's just the heat," Adana would say with a charming smile, dismissing their concerns. But soon, the problems became too strange to ignore. It started with Amara, a loyal customer who visited Adana's salon every 2 weeks. One morning, Amara woke up to find clumps of hairs on her pillow. Shocked, she ran her fingers through her scalp, only to feel smooth patches where her thick braid used to be. Panic set in as the hair loss continued over the next few days. Doctors were baffled. There was no medical explanation to her experiences. Another client, Ifoma, developed chronic migraines. The pain started the night after her appointment and refused to go away. "It feels like something is cloning inside my head," she confided to a friend. No amount of medication helped, and soon, sleepless nights became her norm. Chinelo, a young woman who had gone to Adana's salon for a wedding style, began noticing itchy rashes spreading along her scalp and neck. At first, she thought it was just an allergic reaction, but the rashes grew into painful sores. Doctors prescribed creams and antibiotics, but nothing worked. The sores only worsened, leaving her in tears every night. While some customers experienced strange occurrences in their bodies, others were met with terrible nightmares. Many clients reported waking in cold sweat after seeing Adana in their dreams. She was always holding her comb, her face twisted into a sinister grin as she chased them into a dark forest. One client, Ebele, described a dream where she was trapped in a forest surrounded by tall shadowy figures. They whispered her name while Adana stood at the center, laughing. "I felt like I couldn't escape," Ebele said, trembling as she recounted the experience to her friend. "And when I woke up, it felt like she was still watching me." Then there was Ngozi, who suffered the most terrifying ordeal. After getting her hair braided by Adana, she became severely ill. It started with a fever, but soon she felt an unbearable crawling sensation on her scalp, as if tiny creatures were burrowing into her skin. "There's something alive in my head," she screamed, scratching until her scalp bled. Her family rushed her to the hospital, but doctors found nothing. Yet, Ngozi kept crying and groaning in pain until her family began to wonder if she had lost her mind. This strange and horrifying incident spread like wildfire. Friends warned each other, whispering in hushed tones about Adana's salon. "It is cursed," someone said. "There's something wrong with her comb." But not everyone believed it. Many were too dazzled by Adana's charm and her flawless hairstyles to question her. "It's just bad luck," they argued. "How could someone so talented and generous be behind all this?" Still, the rumors intensified, and so did the fear. Adana, for her part, acted as though nothing was wrong. She continued to greet her clients with her radiant smile and her warm voice. But beneath her calm demeanor, she knew the truth. Her rituals were working too well, and the consequences were beginning to get out of control. However, things began to turn against Adana when Nkem, one of her loyal customers, fell ill after an appointment at her salon. Nkem woke up one morning only to find herself bored, the same experience Amara had. She also experienced terrible nightmares, but tried to dismiss it, blaming it on stress and the African magic movie she had watched that night. But as she shared her experiences with others, she began to notice a pattern. A friend admitted that she too lost patches of hair after visiting Adana's salon. Another mentioned the headaches that wouldn't go away. After hearing similar stories from others, Nkem's curiosity turned into determination. One evening, Nkem made up her mind to find out the reason behind all the strange occurrences. She decided she would follow Adana to find out if she was truly hiding something. She knew Adana often stayed late at the salon. That day, she waited in the shadows outside, and around midnight, she saw Adana stepped out, clutching a small nylon bag. Nkem held her breath as she tread her carefully not to get caught. The journey was long, but Nkem vowed never to give up. Adana walked briskly through deserted streets until she reached the outskirts of the city. Nkem hesitated when she saw her enter a narrow path that led into a dense forest, but she pushed forward, her curiosity overweighing her fears. Deep in the forest, Nkem hid behind a tree and watched as Adana placed the nylon bag on the ground and began muttering strange words. Moments later, the air shifted. A dark figure emerged from the shadows, its form barely human. Nkem's breath caught in her throat as she strained to hear their conversation. "You have brought enough this time," the shadowy spirit hissed. "The wealth you seek will grow, but you must not fail to bring me more hairs and more souls." Adana nodded as she handed over the bag, and the spirit disappeared into the darkness. Nkem couldn't believe what she had just witnessed. Her body trembled as she realized the truth. Adana's wealth and fame were built on something far darker than her hard work. Nkem knew she had to act, but how could she expose someone so powerful? And who would believe her? and she quietly slipped away. Her mind raced with questions she had no answers to. However, she was determined to expose Adana. Nkem decided to gather concrete evidence. She followed Adana again, this time, and recorded everything she saw with her phone, and patiently waited for the right time to expose her. The perfect opportunity came one busy Saturday afternoon when Adana's salon was packed with clients who were laughing and chatting together. Nkem walked in and waited patiently until all eyes were on her. "Adana," she began, "it's time for the truth." The room fell silent. Adana turned to her, her smile slowly fading away. "What truth are you talking about, Nkem?" she asked. "The truth about your comb, about what you have been doing with all of us," Nkem said, pulling out her phone. She played the video to everyone to see. Gasps filled the room as the client watched in horror. "That's not all," Nkem continued, walking towards a small cabinet in the corner. She flung it open to reveal dozens of nylon bags stuffed with hairs and scalp particles. "This is what she has been collecting from us. This is how she has been growing her wealth." The salon erupted in chaos. Clients screamed, some in anger, others in fear. "How could you do this to us?" one woman yelled, tears streaming down her face. Another tried to lunge at Adana, but others held her back. Adana's composure cracked. "You don't understand," she shouted, her voice desperate. "I only wanted to succeed. I had no choice." "Stop lying," Nkem shouted back. "You used us, Adana. You hurt us for your greed." As the crowd closed in on her, Adana's eyes darted around the room, and suddenly the air grew thick, and an unnatural wind swept through the salon. Before anyone could react, Adana let out a piercing scream and vanished into thin air, leaving nothing behind but a glittering comb. The salon fell into stunned silence. The clients stared at the spot where Adana had stood moments ago, their anger replaced by fear. Nkem bent down and picked up the comb. "Her powers came from this," she said, holding it up for everyone to see. "But now, it's over." Words of Adana's downfall spread quickly. Her mansion was abandoned, her luxury cars left untouched, and her once famous salon became a ghost town. Though no one saw her again, the city will never forget the price they paid for her greed and the bravery of one woman who refused to stay silent. The aftermath of Adana's exposure left the city shaking. Many of our former clients slowly began to recover. Their hairs grew back, their nightmares faded, and the strange illnesses disappeared. But for others, the damage was permanent. Some bore scars on their scalps, while others lived with lingering fear that they would never fully escape the curse. Her comb was later burnt and its ashes thrown into the river. The story of Adana, the enchanted stylist, spread far beyond the city. Parents told it to their children, warning them never to use a salon comb. From that day onward, people started going to salons with their personal combs, needles, and even towels. Though Adana was gone, her tale will live on for generations. The moral of the story is to teach us the importance of taking our personal hygiene seriously. We should cultivate the habit of going to the salon with our own personal items, such as combs or even needles, in order not to expose ourselves to hidden dangers. It also brings our mind to the danger of greed and selfishness, because true greatness lies in honesty, kindness, and genuine efforts, and not in exploiting others.
Thank you for watching this video. Like and subscribe for more videos.